Hey guys, welcome to this video. Uh, what I have going on here today is this setup is supposed to emulate my equipment that I purchased for a home lab. I have it all available now. So I have a 2911 router. I have a 5505 ASA firewall. I have a 3560 multi-layer 8-port switch. I have a voice over IP phone. I have a desktop. Um, I have a wireless LAN controller, and I have an access point. Now, oh, by the way, this is the management tunnel interface here, and then this isn't really an interface. This is just signifying the CAC tunnel going to the access point. And this isn't going to be my actual home lab. This is just for like, oh, this is going to, Comcast or, just an example. Okay, so in my actual home lab, my thoughts were I was going to utilize VLANs, um, with VLAN 1 being the inside network, VLAN 2 being the outside, VLAN 5 being a voice over IP phone, uh, VLAN. VLAN 4, the management VLAN for the wireless LAN controller. VLAN 6 for the staff, and VLAN 7 for the guest Wi-Fi. Upon doing this, I ran into a little bit of issues. So this is my very first home lab, and I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, what kind of issues I'd run into, because I have a ton of experience on Cisco Packet Tracer, but I wanted to get my hands onto like some real world equipment. And now that I have them, I wanted to do uh, basically design it first, utilizing Cisco Packet Tracer. There's a few things that I ran into. I was able to solve or work around. And on the right here, I'm going to read a list off of, things that I found out. So the first thing is my lab calls for, okay, I'll just count and make sure it was six. It calls for six VLANs. And unfortunately, I didn't know this, because how if it's not something you think about if you've never actually touched the equipment. But I quickly found out after figuring the Cisco firewall, ASA 5505, I ran into an issue where like I configured VLAN 1, VLAN 2, so I had, two VLANs configured on this firewall. And okay, I need, a few more. I need four more. I try to configure the third one, and I get an error. Hey, the 5505 only supports two VLANs unless you want to get a subscription, I guess, through Cisco's firewall subscription. I didn't know that at the time. So it's definitely something from now on I'm going to have to look into when I am thinking about what kind of home lab I want to do. And uh, I had to keep it in mind, like some devices, like the ASA 5505, only support two of them if you don't have a plan. Um, I would also say with the 5505, um, getting the this switch here, the layer 3 switch, it was kind of like not really um it's not really the ideal switch to have with this one. It works, but like so as you know, a layer 3 switch allows you to do routing via the switch. And the 5505 really leans towards VLANs. You can't actually specify an interface on the 5505, this firewall, to say, okay, I want a fast Ethernet 0/0 to have this IP address. It doesn't work like that. With the firewall, you make a VLAN, you make it an inside or outside VLAN, and you bind it to a certain interface. So the interfaces don't actually have IP addresses. It's the VLAN's IP address that you're using on the interface. So it's like it's not really with the SVIs. Um, I don't know. I can't complain because I got all my equipment through eBay, and I got like the Switch for like $35. So I feel like what Switch I got for the price, it was actually really good. Um, I have I am considering uh upgrading to a 5506X. I talked with ChatGPT for a little bit. The 5506X supports a lot more VLANs, and I believe it also has I'm assuming it would allow me to configure interfaces via IP address, but we'll see. I'm still going to do some research if I do upgrade. Now, since I am thinking about upgrading, I would keep the 5505 since I have it. I would just get get another another cheap switch. And I'm thinking since I have, redundant switches, redundant routers, uh, and a redundant firewall, I could just, have a really small network here, a really small network here, and then play around with IPsec, uh, setting up basically two offices, that kind of thing. Um, one little thing I ran into that I completely forgot about when configuring trunk ports. I was getting an error where it's like, oh, you have this set at dynamic auto, you can't, it was rejecting my commands. After about 5 minutes of troubleshooting, I realized I didn't I didn't do the encapsulation set to .1Q, so that fixed the problem. But just something to keep an eye out because you know, I'm working with the actual equipment is going to be a little bit different than Cisco Packet Tracer. And the last thing that was kind of, I would say, a challenge point for me because I don't have a lot of experience with firewalls. My experience comes from last night playing with a 5505 for about an hour, watching the YouTube videos, talking to ChatGPT, and I got it configured. But I just noticed that when setting up ACLs for NAT, uh, in some situations I had the orientations flip-flopped, and if I had it flip-flopped and I tried to, let's say, okay, router zero wants to ping, this network, or maybe something inside the network wants to go outside, ping that device, it wouldn't work. But yeah, that's really it. Yeah. So unfortunately, with this setup, with only two VLANs supported, what I'm going to do on Cisco Packet Tracer, I'm going to actually delete this one, the 5505, and put a 5506 in its place. So I'll put this here, and I'll go ahead and configure that as well. And that's going to be with like, the multiple VLANs this time, multiple VLAN support. But yeah, after I have this set up and I can, verify that everything's working as intended, I will set up my home lab to basically uh, replicate this. This is the setup I want. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and